morning. My name is Jennifer Tom.
And I'm Darlene Rumpel.
And it's Wednesday. And I just want to say thank you so much for our friends who support us, share our information, and share our podcast. We just want to say thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a great month of overwhelm, especially in June, when where we live, it's summer. There's so much things. We all have a to-do list and things we need to get done, and sometimes they don't get done, and we get overwhelmed, and we feel like everything is happening at the same time. So today we're just gonna wrap up our overwhelm. What are your thoughts, Darlene? How we did the month of overwhelm?
Well, we got up lots of our tools and practice. Again, overwhelmed. Like we all live busy lives, and we all get overwhelmed. And I know there's just that sense of there's too much to do. I always look at everything that isn't done and then start getting overwhelmed instead of looking what I am doing and what is getting done. So that's kind of a pattern as we go through. Really, when we were talking about being overwhelmed, if we can just find those patterns, and if we know the pattern, then we can start figuring out how to change it. So one of my patterns is I always look at everything that's not getting done, right? So this month I've been trying really hard to say, okay, I may have 20 things I didn't get done, but what are the 5 things I did get done? Jen just told me this morning, right? What are the things that we actually did get done this month?
I love that so much because we forget. I've shared this before. I love what Brendan said. Common sense is not common practice. And it's a reminder for all of us. And if we do not look at the wins, I call them the wins, what worked well. I think our human or society or how we've been programmed tends to go, what didn't work? And what does that do for our soul, our being? It makes us not feel like we're moving forward. It feels like we're always trying to catch up. So how about the challenge we give you all today is how can you celebrate the little wins, the small wins? How can you celebrate the wins? So when you feel overwhelmed, just think about what worked first.
Yeah, what worked. And another perspective is what was effective and what was ineffective instead of what was good or what was bad. Because what was good or what was bad, we kind of put in categories, and if it's bad, it's terrible. But if it's just ineffective, it means we can actually do something that's effective. It's just a little bit of words, but I think it's really important. That mind shift, right? We talked about mind shift and perspective.
I love it. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for joining us today. What's your pattern for overwhelm? That's a question that we should ask our friends out there. What's your pattern for overwhelm? So last week we talked about the triggers, and today the triggers that cause overwhelm. So when we identify the triggers, we know it's like a thunder. We know it's coming. It's giving us a warning. We talked about those, and they were just amazing. So today we're gonna shift to patterns and how to transform overwhelm into growth. I love Darlene has some questions ready for us that we just need to reflect on them, and this will help us to close the month and have more tools on how to deal with overwhelm, especially at this time of June, summer, fun things happening. Yes.
So number one, we want to identify what's the overwhelm. So what specific situations or thoughts trigger your feelings of overwhelm the most? And can you describe how you feel in those moments?
I love that question. I feel like our platform here is not very interactive, but if you can type for us about identifying the overwhelm. What is it? Delhi, do you have a story for us? I have a full list of mine.
Now, actually, Jen should take over because I'm just thinking. It takes me longer to process things. Jen just like, ping.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I just love it. I love it. Like we had to write the points down, and so identify what's the trigger of how do we feel in those moments. I have to tell you, yesterday I did just a story, personal story, as we share. I was actually telling Darlene today, as we share lessons learned about overwhelm, I'm experiencing it myself. So yesterday I had a long day, and it felt like the call, everything was happening, and I felt a little overwhelmed. My kids want this one. So everybody wants something. And I came home and I was feeling. So let's talk about the feeling. I started feeling like my breathing was heavier. I was a little grumpy. And I came home and I thought, what have I learned in life? I thought, when you feel overwhelmed, go for a walk. That's how I deal with it. And I took a walk. I left my phones, I left everything, and I took a 30-minute walk. Took the walk, and as I was walking, I just emptied. I released all the feelings, and I was telling, it's like an affirmation. I was telling myself, it's all gonna work out. It is figure outable, my favorite word. I will figure this out because I have the confidence that I can figure it out. And as we're walking, those feelings of heavy breathing, something in my belly, I started releasing it on my walk. And I have to tell you that when I got back, I'm like, okay, what's the priority right now? What do I need to do? And I wrote it down. And there was a shift in my being that shifted from feeling this deep breathing, heaviness, everything. And as I released on my walk by actually saying it loud or just any way you can do it. For me, I do it as a prayer. I do it as I can deep breath, however you want to do it, or enjoy nature. I came back and I'm like, I can handle this. I can figure this out. And that is one way. That is how I identified what was it, what's the priority here, what needs to be dealt with first. And I forgot about everything else. I said, what's the one thing? Because I can't do 10 things. What's the one thing? And I was able to move through it. And
you also were able to shift your perspective, right? It's when we can acknowledge that we're overwhelmed, and then you knew, right? You shifted your perspective from that overwhelmed to, yes, I can do this, right? I've done it before, which is so important, that we need to pull on our past strengths. We've done it before. It's like a muscle. We can build a muscle. We work it, right? And as the more we work it, the more we do these steps, the more it builds. So the more you can bounce back, and actually, then the stronger you get. That's how you grow. You actually grow through testing your muscles, right? You grow by expanding. And so I think I'm jumping a little ahead, but I really like that. So when you're feeling overwhelmed, the first thing is to acknowledge it, identify it, talk about your feelings. Like Jen said, she let out her feelings, she expressed her feelings, she switched her perspective, and looked at it as a learning. Like what are the small steps you can take this week to transform your overwhelmed into opportunities of growth? That's a whole new mind perspective. And then I love how she said, then we find our priority. What is the actual priority? Okay, great. What is your priority? And then how do you break that down into manageable steps? That's so amazing. You just set up.
and what's the no? Let's talk about the no, because I have seen it, and I'm not saying I haven't lost a day either. We all get overwhelmed, like I can't, and the noise becomes louder and louder. And again, this month I have experienced where I have a friend who got so overwhelmed, and the first word that came out of her mouth was like, I can't, and I can't do this, and I can't do this, and I'm done. And we quit. How many times do we get overwhelmed and we quit on ourselves, we quit on others, we quit on our surroundings? Let's think about that. It's because we use the word I can't. Anytime you use the word I can't, it's personally, I see it as a defeat. There is no, like when you use I cannot do it. There's no way. You feel defeat. I feel defeated when I use that word. And so this month I've seen a friend who just she quit on me, she quit on herself, she quit on everybody around it, and now it becomes a really big deal. My challenge to everybody who is listening: let's avoid that word "I can't," and just use the lessons learned that we've shared here to say, I can figure this out. And what's my number one?
And also, not only I can, also I am. We always say I'm not able to, or I'm not strong enough, or I'm not, right? But how can we again switch that to the I am strong, like I am capable. Um, and that actually helps us, right? Bring that, it actually changes our mindset, and gives us the strength to find that priority and get in the present.
That's amazing. So as we wrap up this month, we just want to say thank you for sharing your thoughts on overwhelm, joining us and listening to our discussion, and also I hope that you took some insights about overwhelm. It's not it's not a thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just it's a natural and normal for us humans, right? It is lost. It's not lost, but you, darling, help me with that word. It's a part of us, and the key is to identify the triggers, how to deal with it, and how to go through it.
Yes, that's the huge part, right? How do we go through things instead of always going around and around? Because again, if you quit, the patterns, we're talking about patterns, we have to switch our patterns. And when patterns reoccur, they become habits, and we do it without thinking. That's where we turn back to our beliefs, right? When we can start identifying those patterns and make a different choice, then we can go through, right? Just like Jen said, when we can get clear, we don't store those feelings, we let them out, and then we can find our priorities and move forward and through.
So I am super, super excited. If you like this month's topic, please send us a message, check out our resources. And we are super excited because we are recording a program that's coming up in the fall, and it will be all about these tools that we can use through life events, whether through life events. So we all know we'll experience more than 40 losses in our lives. And when you have the right tools, we are able to live fully and be present and enjoy this gift of life that we've been given. So we are super excited to announce that there is a program coming just for that, just for the tools about transforming grief into growth. And it's all about growth and how to be able to handle all these life events. Please stay tuned. We are just excited. We are loving recording it. We are loving to share with you all. So please share our information. We'd love everybody to have these tools so that when we meet on the streets, we are all like, we are here and we are present and we're not, our backpack is not as heavy. I'm super excited. So until next Wednesday, please enjoy your summer if you're in this part of the world. Please use the list we shared about overwhelm and enjoy every minute. Enjoy the glimpses of life. Life is the gift. Life is short. Enjoy all the glimpses. Until then, love ya.